Namami Buddham Gunasagarantam Santa Sada Hontu Suki Avera Kayo Jiguncho Sakalo Dugandho Gachanti Sabbe Maranang Ancha Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Yo Paticcasamuppadang Passati Yo Dhammang Passati Yo Dhammang Passati So Paticcasamuppadang Passati. Homage to the Expert One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, in this discussion, we are going to extend a very special topic in Buddhism. It is the Paticcasamuppada or the dependent origination. This is the heart of Buddhism. This is the unique in Buddhism. When we consider the Buddha's message, his message can be divided into two. One of them is in the mundane level doctrines. The other one is in the supra-mundane level. Buddha says, the most important thing in our life is that Samma Ditti, right vision, correct understanding. And right understanding can be divided into mundane level and supra-mundane level. In the discourse of Mahachattarasika Sutta, Buddha says, Samma Dittim Paham Bhikkhave Dvayam Vadami. Ati Bhikkhave Samma Ditti Sāsava Punyabhāgya Upadivepakkhā Ati Bhikkhave Samma Ditti Ariya Anasava Lokuttara Magganga. Samma Ditti can be divided into two. One of them is in the mundane level. Sāsava Punyabhāgya Upadivepakkhā. One of Samma Dittis is that it belongs to the world, and also it is like meritorious deeds, decorating our mind, the gifts of our mind. The other one is Ariya Anasava Lokuttara Magganga. Another Samma Ditti or right understanding is in the supra-mundane level, from the sansaric circle. Lokuttara, supra-mundane level. Magganga, a state of the 8 noble paths. And the very first thing is, when we listening to Dhamma, the very first understanding that we receive throughout listening to Dhamma with the association of the good friends, the karmic law. Whatever we do with intention, we will have the same results. Therefore, we always keep our mind pure and calm with positive thoughts, such as compassion, loving kindness, equanimity. These are the positive thoughts, generosity, loving kindness. When we develop these positive thoughts, Buddha says, Chitta Lankaran, Chitta Parikara. These positive thoughts beautify, shine our mind. These positive thoughts are the gifts for our mind. We always give some gifts to our friends and some colleagues, material gifts, but doing merits means spiritual gifts. And also if we can help someone with the Dhamma, Sabbadanan Dhammadanan Dinati, Buddha says the gift of Dhamma exceeds all other gifts. The thing is that when we give the Dhamma, it means the way how we purify our mind. The more we purify our mind, the more we overcome suffering. The more we overcome suffering, the more we receive real spiritual happiness. And also, in the supramundane level, we should have another understanding, which is the dependent origination, Paticcasamuppada. When we consider the doctrines in the mundane level, we can see some same doctrines in other religions too. Every religion has explained some good qualities, but their doctrines are included into the mundane level. Why is that? Their doctrines go to extremes. Sometimes they may say that there is a world. Sometimes they may say that there isn't a world. Always the world goes to these extremes. Sassatavada or Uchchedavada. Sassatavada means eternalism. Some people may think that the world goes continuously or permanently. That understanding belongs to Sassatavada or eternalism. And also the other thing is, some people may think that there is nothing in the world, or there is nothing after we die. Everything finished, we die. Everything finished when our experience ceases. That is also an extreme. That is the Uchchedavada or annihilism. Buddha has explained those extremes with one philosophy, which is the Paticcasamuppada or the dependent origination. If we want to overcome the samsaric circle completely, we should have this understanding. According to the audience, Buddha has explained this message, the Paticcasamuppada, in short alone. Sometimes when the audience was very gifted, very wise, then Buddha has explained his message in short. When the audience was not very fluent or wise, Buddha has explained his message with many details. When we describe the Paticcasamuppada, sometimes Buddha has explained avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, like that. There are 12 steps in long way. But sometimes Buddha explained this Paticcasamuppada in short. How did the Buddha explain the Paticcasamuppada or the dependent origination in short? Buddha says, I is impermanent. That is only his message. I is impermanent means chakkum aniccham. It means not just the physical eye, but the ability of seeing. It has a deep meaning. Even though it is very short, it has a very deep meaning. I is impermanent means I is alive when forms are alive, when lights are here. With the many conditions, I is alive at the moment. And also immediately it ceases. That is the meaning of I is impermanent. In another way, Buddha says, like in Pali language, Chakkum Anattam. It means I is selfless. Sometimes Buddha says, Chakku Viññāna Anicca. Mind consciousness is impermanent. Sometimes Buddha says, Yankinki Samudaya Dhammam Sampantam Nirodha Dhammam. If some conditions arise, when conditions cease, the experience ceases. And also, sometimes Buddha says, Asmin Satidam Hoti. When this is, this is. Imasa Uppada Idam Upajati. Because of arising this arises. Asmin Asatidam Hoti. When this is not, this is not. Imasa Nirodha Idam Nirujjati. As the result of cessation of this ceases. These are the ways that Buddha has explained about the dependent origination. Sometimes in short, sometimes in long. And also, everything can be included into one sentence. We always explain it. Ahutva Sambudham Hutvana Bhuvisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. This is the silver line of all experiences that we receive through our six senses every moment. And here, this theory is explained in various names. Sometimes Buddha says this in his words, Ariya Nyaya, the theory of noble ones, and Idapajjata, or causality, and Udayavyagamini Panya, the wisdom of arising and ceasing. There are many synonyms that we can see that Buddha has used for the dependent origination, Paticcasamuppada. And Buddha says, what is the reason of suffering? What are the sufferings? Sufferings means Jati, Jara, Vyadi, Marana. Rebirth, decay, lamentation, sorrow, grief. These are the sufferings that we receive in our life. When Buddha explained suffering, Buddha explained his message from the seen experiences to unseen experiences. The very visible sufferings are decay, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, like that. What is the invisible reason of suffering? Ignorance or avidya. Buddha says, this theory, Paticcasamuppada, is realized not only by myself, but all the Buddhas who appeared in the world. Not only by me. Buddha says in Abhisamaya Sanyutta, in Sanyutta Nikaya, previous Buddhas, Buddha has explained about 6 previous Buddhas. Vipassana Buddha, Sikhi Buddha, Vessava Buddha, Kakusana Buddha, Konagamana Buddha, and Kassapa Buddha. When they realized the Dhamma, when they attained the enlightenment, they also discovered the same theory as I realized. All of them have realized this message in the same way. There are several discourses in the same place Buddha has explained. Vipassana Buddha also realized this theory as the same way how the Gautama Buddha explained. Gautama Buddha realized. And also, when Buddha attained enlightenment, Buddha realized why the people have this kind of suffering. What is the reason of suffering? Buddha recognized, Buddha discovered, and Buddha recollected again and again what is the reason of decay, sorrow, death, sickness, lamentation. Then Buddha realized that very closet reason of decay, death and sorrow is what is that? The birth. Because of birth, because of rebirth, we receive all the sufferings in this world. Then again, Buddha contemplated on what is the reason of rebirth. Then Buddha understood, Buddha discovered Bhavapacchaya Jati. Bhavapacchaya Jati. The rebirth happens because of the process of becoming. Bhava. Bhava means the process of becoming. Birth happens because of the process of becoming. Then again Buddha contemplated on why the process of becoming happened. What is the reason of becoming? Then Buddha understood, the Supreme Buddha realized, Upadana-paccaya bhava. Through clinging is conditioned the process of becoming. The process of becoming happened because of clinging, upadana. Again, Buddha investigated what is the reason of clinging. Then Buddha understood tanha-paccaya upadana. Clinging arose because of craving. The reason of clinging is that craving. And also again Buddha investigated what is the reason of craving. Then Buddha realized the reason of craving is that sensation. Through sensation is conditioned craving. Again Buddha recalled, investigated what is the reason of sensation. Then Buddha understood the reason of sensation is that contact. Sparsa-paccaya, passa-paccaya vedana. Sensation occurs because of contact. Again Buddha realized what is the reason of contact. Buddha understood the reason of contact is that arising of 6 faculties. What are the six faculties? Yes, eye, ear, nose, like that. Then again Buddha investigated what is the reason of six faculties? The reason of six faculties is that Nama Rupa Pacchaya Salayatana, mentality and corporeality, mind and matter. Again, Buddha realized what are the reasons, what is the reason of mentality and corporeality. Buddha recognized the reason of mentality and corporeality as Vijnana Pacchaya Nama Rupam. Mentality and corporeality arose because of consciousness. Vijnana Pacchaya Nama Rupam. Again, Buddha realized what is the reason of consciousness. Then Buddha realized through volitional actions for karmic formations is conditioned consciousness. Consciousness occurred because of mental formations, volitional actions. Then finally Buddha realized what is the reason of mental formations. Ignorance is the reason of mental formations. Through ignorance are conditioned volitional actions. And sometimes you may think that these steps have long time to go to the end. No, in a second, in a one thought, all things happen in a second. Here it is very important to understand the ignorance or delusion. What is the ignorance or delusion? Idea. Ignorance can be explained in various ways. When we experience something through our senses, if we think there is something outside before I experience, that is one of the ignorances. And also we think after we experience, it remains outside. It is like when we go to a mirror, if a person thinks that before I went to a mirror, the reflection was waiting for me. Even though I leave the mirror, the reflection remains there until I will come back. Like some pets mentioned, we also like that. We are not ignorant in front of the mirror, but we are ignorant everywhere. Except, without mirror, any other places we are ignorant. When we experience something, when you came here, when you come here, you may think that before I came here, the temple was here. It is true in the mundane level. Conventional truth, it is true. But here we are discussing the absolute truth in the supramundane level, which helps us to overcome the samsaric circle completely. If we want to have a blissful life hereafter, we don't need an absolute truth. Then we can think like that. Before we come here, it was here. After we leave, it remains. And also we can do some meritorious deeds. We can worship the monks, we can offer dana to others. And also whenever you remember your good activities, your meritorious deeds, then you can imagine still those things are happening. Then at the end of your life, when you remember your experiences, then you can have a blissful life. The reason is that when you remember something, forms are alive in front of your mind. Then we don't know that now I am reading my mind. End of our life, When we remember something, forms are alive in front of us mentally. But we don't know that now I am reading my mind. We think that this is the real world. According to our mental formations, which consist with material things, we will be reborn. That is the nature of the ignorance in the mundane level. But as the result of doing good deeds, we can receive a blissful life in the mundane level. We have received this blissful life also as the result of that intention. But it is not enough to overcome the severe challenges in our life, which are decay, death and rebirth. If we want to overcome these challenges, these issues, problems from our life, Jara, Marana, Jati. Jara means decay, Marana means death, Jati means rebirth. If we want to overcome these three challenges from our life, we need this philosophy, which is the Paticcasamuppada. Buddha says, the Buddha and his message shine, beautify, because of three reasons in this world. The spiritual teacher and his sublime message shine, beautify in this world because of three reasons. What are the three reasons? Decay, death and rebirth. If we don't face these challenges in our life, we don't need to find a spiritual teacher and his sublime truth. We need to find a spiritual teacher because of these three reasons. For that, we should have a clear understanding how suffering arises. And also in another way, when we explain ignorance, when we experience something through our senses, for example, if you look at this wall, if you think this wall is for everyone, that is also one of the ignorances. When you look at this wall, you may think that this is a wall, this can be realized by anyone. This is made of atoms. Atoms can be tested by anyone, any scientist, in the same way. If this is water for everyone. We think that. Actually, it is not true. In this level, because of all of our mental formations in this level, in this moment is same, this is all for everyone who are here, human beings. But if there is another being here like a ghost, these are not walls for him. He can see through the wall, he can go through the walls. And also, even though a scientist experiments this wall divided in atoms, that ghost is unable to test it because he don't find the wall here. This is water for me. I can drink and get rid of my thirsty. But if there is very low level being here, sometimes this is not water for his world. Even though he is very thirsty, he is unable to drink this water. He is even unable to see this water because of his bad karmic results. This is one of the things that we should realize through samadhi. And also, the other one is ignorance, is that when we look at something, when we hear something, we may think that I experience the present experience. For example, when you look at me, you may think that I am looking at Bhante just now. I recognize Bhante just now through my eyes. Is it true? You know, when you look at me, suddenly the color arises and ceases. When you recognize me, not through your eyes or eye consciousness, but you recognize me through your mind consciousness. When you recognize me or my sound through your eye or through your ear, the very first experience has already ceased. You recognize something through your mind consciousness, not through your eye consciousness or ear consciousness. This is the reality. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. You know, when we eat something, food is in the plate. When we eat something, when it is delicious, we are looking at the food in the plate, and also we may think that the taste is in the plate. Actually, when we eat something, food is in our mouth, but we look at the plate. When we taste something, actually that food has already come to our mouth, but our ignorance doesn't believe it. We always think that the delicious food is in the plate. You know, the food in the plate is not delicious. Delicious food is mixed with many things in our mouth. Is it beautiful? No, it is so ugly like vomiting. When you go somewhere, you always look at front. When you drive, you always look at over there. But your vehicle is here. The wheels are here. You are here, but you look at front. You never look at your wheels when you drive. You always look at front, but you always live in the past experience. Like that. When you recognize me, when you recognize my voice, you are living the past experience. The reason is that the first sound has ceased already. You recognize some words, not through your eye consciousness, but through your mind consciousness. But our delusion, our ignorance doesn't believe it. That is why we always look at outside. That is why always we criticize others. That is why we say that don't make me angry. Please always make me happy. We invite others to make us happy, not to make angry. The reason is that we always think that suffering or happiness comes from outside. Actually, happiness or suffering doesn't come from outside. When we love something, we never love material things outside. We love inside our five aggregates. If we hate something, sometimes we may think that I don't like your misbehavior, I hate you. But you know, when I direct my finger to you, actually I direct my finger to inside my five aggregates. I have loved my five aggregates. I got angry, my five aggregates. And also we think these are permanent. What is that? When we remember some incident which happened in the past, our mind suddenly goes to past. For example, when someone has blamed you, as soon as you remember that incident, suddenly you think that person is alive in front of you. But we have read our mental formations. We think that I am angry with that person, but we are angry with our own mental formations. This is also a nature of ignorance. We can explain ignorance in various ways. When we have this ignorance, when we experience something through our senses, suddenly our mind is fixed outside material things. Then suddenly, in a second, from ignorance to decay, everything has happened in a second. That is why Buddha says, avidya paccaya sankhara. Through ignorance are conditioned volitional actions. Sankhara paccaya vijnanam. Through volitional actions is conditioned consciousness. Vijnana paccaya nama rupam. Through consciousness are conditioned mentality and corporeality. Nama rupa paccaya vijnanam. Through mental and physical phenomena are conditioned the six faculties. Through the six faculties is conditioned contact. Salayatana paccaya passo and passa paccaya vedana. Through contact is conditioned sensation. Vedana paccaya tanha. Through sensation is conditioned craving. And tanha paccaya upadanam. Through craving is conditioned clinging. And upadana paccaya bhavo. Through clinging is conditioned the process of becoming. Bhava paccaya jati. Through the process of becoming is conditioned rebirth. When we were born, if we are ignorant, then we have hugged decay, sorrow, lamentation, grief, pain, like that. Why is that? When we experience something with ignorance, suddenly our mind is fixed in outside persons and things. Sometimes our mind is fixed in our physical body. When this physical body is going to decay, sickness, death, we think that I am going to decay, I am going to aging, I am going to sickness, I am going to die, I am so sorrow, I am so sad, we say that. This is the nature of ignorance. Very first experience is neutral. When we look at something, when we hear something, the very first experience belongs to Vijnanacharya. We are unable to reach the very first experience. We can recognize the very first experience through our wisdom, not in the true world. Even Arahants are unable to reach the very first experience, which is the result of our previous actions, which is neutral. But if we are mindful and wise, we can control the next experience, not to make five aggregates with thinking. Just five aggregates are neutral, but five aggregates clinging, then that is the reason of suffering. When we are ignorant, everything has happened in a second. Then, if we can practice this path, if we have this understanding, always we have discipline in our speech and behavior. Always we are mindful. We live in the present moment with the awareness of our body and mind, and also we reflect on impermanence. Then we don't go to the ignorance. We stop in ignorance and we do everything wisely, reflecting on impermanence. And also Buddha says, if someone is ignorant, his entire path is wrong. Miccha Patipada. Buddha says in his discourses, Miccha Patipada and Samma Patipada. Miccha Patipada means wrong path. Samma Patipada means correct path. Wrong path means if we experience something with ignorance, that is the wrong path, because we have to contact with suffering because of ignorance. Whenever we are mindful and wise, then we don't go to ignorance when we experience something. Then that path is correct. Samma Patipada. What is that? Samma Patipada means right vision, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, like that. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, that is the right path. When we know that Samma Ditti, Dukkha Jnana, the knowledge of suffering, the knowledge of the cessation of suffering, the knowledge of the cessation of suffering, the knowledge of the cessation that leads to get rid of suffering. If we have this understanding, our intention is correct, our speech is correct, our actions are correct, our livelihood is correct, our effort is correct, our mindfulness is correct, our tranquility is correct, everything is correct. That is the Samma Patipada, right path. For that, Buddha has explained again how we overcome this suffering little by little. There Buddha says, Avidyayatveva asesa viraga nirodho chago sankhara nirodha. Avidyayatveva asesa viraga nirodha sankhara nirodho. With the fading away and cessation of ignorance comes cessation of volitional formations. Sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho. With the cessation of volitional formations comes cessation of consciousness. Vijnana nirodha, nama rupa nirodho. With the cessation of consciousness comes cessation of mentality and corporeality. Nama rupa pacchaya, nama rupa nirodha, salayatana nirodho. With the cessation of mind and matter comes cessation of six senses. Salayatana nirodha, passa nirodho. With the cessation of six senses comes cessation of contact. Passa nirodha, vedana nirodho. With the cessation of contact comes cessation of feeling. Vedana nirodha, tanha nirodho. With the cessation of feeling comes cessation of craving. Tanha nirodha, upadana nirodho. With the cessation of craving comes cessation of clinging. Upadana nirodha, bhava nirodho. With the cessation of clinging comes cessation of existence of becoming. Bhava nirodha, jati nirodho. With the cessation of clinging comes cessation of existence of becoming. And bhava nirodha, jati nirodho. With the cessation of existence comes cessation of rebirth. If we have no rebirth, all the problems are solved. Jati nirodha, jara marana soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa. With the cessation of rebirth, cessation of decay, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair comes. Whenever we are mindful and wise, when we experience something, suddenly when we experience something, we look at inside. Ordinary people always look at outside when they experience, but we who know the Buddha's message, we are like who go to the mirror. When we go to the mirror, we never comb the hair of the reflection in the mirror. We direct our comb to our own hair, body. Like that. When we experience something outside, we never criticize others. We look at inside. It doesn't mean that we don't think there isn't a world, because it is an extreme. Buddha never said that there isn't a world. Actually, there is a world, but that world is alive at the moment when we experience something. Like this sound. This sound is alive at the moment. We never say that this is not a sound. The reason is that again we can create a sound. Because of several reasons, the sound is alive. But the very important thing is that this sound doesn't belong to any reason. Because of my fingers, because of my consciousness, the ability of hearing, I experience the sound, but this sound doesn't belong to any reason. This sound doesn't belong to my fingers, this sound doesn't belong to my ears, this sound doesn't belong to even my consciousness. But without this any reason, I am unable to experience the sound. Everything is instant. Everything is alive at the moment. With the conditions, they arise together, they immediately cease together. Then we don't go to the extremes of eternalism or annihilism. Buddha says very clearly, when someone sees the arising of high aggregates, he never goes to the extreme of annihilism, Uchedavada. If a person sees the cessation of high aggregates, he never goes to the extreme of eternalism, Sasatavada. These both extremes should be reduced in one philosophy, which is the Paticcasamuppada, or the dependent origination. Buddha says, your Paticcasamuppada passati, so Dhammam passati. He who sees the dependent origination sees the Dhamma. Your Dhammam passati, so Paticcasamuppada passati. He who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent origination. Again Buddha says, your Dhammam passati, so mam passati. Your mam passati, so Dhammam passati. He who sees the Buddha sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. Seeing the Paticcasamuppada, Dhamma and the Supreme Buddha are interrelated. Understanding the dependent origination is the way to see the Supreme Buddha. Even though Buddha has passed away, if he can see this reality through listening to Dhamma and through practicing Dhamma, then Buddha is alive in this world. We can understand who Buddha is. Even though Buddha is alive under the same roof, if we don't know this path, if we don't know the Paticcasamuppada, actually we don't see the Buddha. That is why he says, Inda ekavehara, vinda dhamma manahara, Sindamina Duksasara, Ane Devudat Nodutu Mokpur. Living in the same place with the Buddha. He was unable to see the Buddha because he didn't see the Dhamma. Physically he saw the Buddha, but mentally he didn't see the Buddha. If you can recognize the Dhamma through listening and practicing Dhamma, then we can understand who the Supreme Buddha is. You know, whenever we have this experience, when we have this understanding, we know very well, whenever we are ignorant with this experience, we have to experience suffering. Then if we are not ignorant, suddenly we can overcome suffering. If we can see this reality at the moment, suddenly we worship the Buddha by our heart, not by our physical body. Always we worship the Buddha by our heart. You know, this is the very huge message that Buddha explained as the result of his great discovery, as the result of all his samsaric journey, dedicating everything for the enlightenment. He realized this valuable truth which consists with the dependent origination, Paticcasamuppada. Here, it is very important to understand anicca, impermanence. Impermanence are changing, are different. When we ask you what is the impermanence, suddenly you may think that, you may say that changing, everything is subject to change. Now you are young, one day you are going to old age. Now you are very healthy, one day you get sick. Now you are alive, one day you are subject to die. You may think that this is changing. This is also a changing in the mundane level, but when we go to the deeper level, the meaning of impermanence is hard to understand. It means, impermanence means completely depends on Paticcasamuppada, the dependent origination. With the silver line, what is that? Not being occurred comes to occurrence, being occurred will not go to occurrence. Like this sound. This sound arises and ceases at the moment. We can realize these fingers one day going to destroy, one day going to decay. We can understand one day I am going to, death. This sound ceases. We can understand it. But the meaning of impermanence is different. What is that? When all conditions are together, at the moment, suddenly this experience arises. And also suddenly it ceases. These things don't belong to anything or anyone. That is very important thing. Sound comes from my mouth. But this sound doesn't belong to me in the supra-mundane level. In the mundane level, if you blame something, you have to go to court. You will be in the prison. In the mundane level, rules are everything, depend on the mundane level. When we go to the deeper level, even though some person hit me or blamed me, scolded me, that activity doesn't belong to that person. That experience doesn't belong to even me. But because of several reasons, this incident happened. But this experience doesn't belong to any reason. That is the nature of the dependent origination. That is why Buddha says, Kammassa karako nanti vipakassa ca vedana. So the Dhamma pavattanti. There is no person as a subject. There is no person which belongs to karma or vipaka. In the mundane level, Buddha advises, karma sakomi, karma dayado, karma is the heritor, karma is the your relative. In the mundane level, karma or actions belong to us. That is why we practice good deeds in our life. But when we go to the higher level, in the supramundane level, those actions don't belong to us. Only just action. And at that level, we are completely live in the wisdom. Then we have no subjects, only objects. Now we have a subject. I do these things like that. When we go to the deeper level, subjects disappear. Only actions. And for that, we have to reflect on impermanence again and again. And Buddha has proclaimed a path which consists with 3 stages: Sila, Samadhi, Panna. With this understanding, again and again, we control our speech and behavior. And also, little by little, we develop our tranquility meditation, Samatha Bhavana. We increase the duration of concentration meditation. Buddha says, as an intelligent person, as a wise person, highest qualities that we can develop in our life are tranquility and insight meditation. Our real success completely depends on the duration of tranquility and insight meditation. Actually, we have done everything in this samsaric journey as good deeds for these things. We should dedicate our entire life to increase the duration of samatha and vipassana. Samatha and vipassana completely decide our spiritual success. Day by day, we should try to increase the samatha bhavana, the duration of samatha bhavana and the duration of vipassana or insight meditation. Then finally, as the result of this path, we completely live in wisdom. As soon as we experience something, suddenly we look at inside, and also at the moment we reflect on even our mental formations as impermanent, as dissatisfactory, and as selfless. Then we don't find anything or anyone. We don't find anything or anyone to even spread loving kindness. In the mundane level, we have to practice the impurity of body parts, loving kindness, for fundamental elements. Those are the primary techniques that we have to practice to overcome craving, lust and anger. But if we clever to reflect on impermanence, then we don't find anything or anyone outside, even we don't find any particular person as me, as myself. We see only arising and ceasing of five aggregates. But we should be intelligent, we should be wise. When we go on this path, we have to live in the ordinary society. That is why we have to fulfill our duties and responsibilities. If you don't do your job, you don't have food, you don't have money. If you don't earn something, some money, you are unable to take care of your children, your parents. For that, we have to earn money righteously. But we know very well our children, our relatives, our properties are not the final destination. We don't give the priority to them. We have given the priority to our spiritual success. Those things are in the mundane level activities, but our dream is always reflecting on impermanence. That is our dream. We should make this dream true. Then, little by little, we increase the duration of reflecting on impermanence. For that, understanding the dependent origination is very, very important. Even though there are several stages in Paticcasamuppada, in 1 second, we can explain everything. And also sometimes Buddha has explained avidya and sankhara are as previous actions. And also vijnana, namarupa, salayatana, passa, vedana. They are consciousness, corporeality and mentality, 6 senses, contact and sensation. These things are as vijnanacharya or the present experience, which are neutral. And also tanha, upadana, bhava, they are new actions which consist with ignorance. And future results, jati, jara, marana, birth, decay, sickness, death, like that. In various ways, Buddha has explained this message, the Paticcasamuppada. However, every step, even though Buddha has given priority to some things, sometimes Buddha has given the priority to vijnana. But don't misunderstand, at the moment, no other things. Actually, every moment, 5 aggregates are together. We are unable to divide the 5 aggregates. But Buddha has given priority to something at once. But always we can see ignorance. Always we can see 5 aggregates. Even though 5 aggregates are together, we are unable to divide them physically. We should recognize them through our wisdom. For an example, when you drink something, some tea or coffee, you can decide whether sugar is high or low, whether it is hot or not. You can decide through your mind, but you are unable to divide them in a plate or in a cup. This is water, this is sugar, this is coffee, this is hot. Can you divide? No, like that. 5 aggregates are unable to divide in the physical world. Through listening to Dhamma, through reflecting on Dhamma, we divide them through our mind, through our wisdom. Then, as soon as we experience something, suddenly we can understand what happens to my life. My entire life is arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates. Without these 5 aggregates, I have nothing. Even though we say that I have delicious food, I have a good child who is very obedient to me, but everything is inside. Everything is in 5 aggregates. Physical world is like, when we eat something, if we think that this taste is in the plate like that, actually taste is in our mouth at the moment. This is the reality. Day by day, we should clean, we should clear our understanding. And the more we have right understanding, the more we are confident in the Buddha's enlightenment. Tathagatasya bodhin saddhati. The more we are confident in what the Buddha realized, the more energy increases. Then we go forward very fast. Why is that? If we have not this real experience with wisdom, suffering is waiting for us. We are like who are in the railway. We are waiting for a train. What are the trains? Trains are our relatives, sickness, decay, death. Those are the trains. We are waiting on the railway until trains come. If we are ignorant, it means we are on the railway. Anytime, any train may come and kill us. Anytime, suffering may come and make us sorrow, make us sad, suffering. That is why we should have energetic courage to go forward very fast by listening to Dhamma, by reflecting Dhamma, by practicing Dhamma, by achieving result of Dhamma. We should reach the real destination in our spiritual life. Okay, for that I wish you all the best. Have any question? Yes?
You mentioned that there is no object. Does that mean there is no I or you? That at a deeper level there is no object or reaction. So does the object mean there is no I or me or myself?
Actually, there are objects. It means, I mean that we have no person who belongs to these actions. Even though we do some actions, such as I gave you an example, this sound. Even though I did this sound doesn't belong to me. This is just action. But in the mundane level, if I blame you, I will have negative results. I will have to suffer in lower realm life. It is in the mundane level. In that level, we have a subject. I do that work. Mano pubbangama dhamma, manasase paduttena, bhasitiva karato, tatonan dukkha manvedi chayana. As a result of my bad actions with the polluted mind, I have to receive negative results. That belongs to mundane level actions. There is a subject. But when we go to the higher level in the absolute truth, Buddha says, Kammassa karako nati, there is no person who does this action. Only, just an action. This action doesn't belong to me. This action doesn't belong to even my fingers. This sound doesn't belong to even my consciousness. But without this any reason, this sound doesn't arise. That is the interesting thing. Because of conditions, the experience arises, but any condition doesn't belong to experience. That is the nature of the teachings of absolute truth of the Buddha. That is the unique in Buddhism. That depends on the understanding of the dependent origination or Paticcasamuppada. Okay, day by day we should go forward with this understanding and practicing. Not only understanding, but we have to practice samatha and vipassana bhavana day by day. And also we should develop our qualities, generosity, virtue, loving kindness. Those qualities are also very important. When we live with others, we should be sensitive with others also, and also especially we should have the qualities of which come in Karanimetta Sutta. Sakho, Uyoja, Suyoja, skillfulness, honesty. Those are qualities should be developed day by day in our spiritual life. That is also very important. For that, I wish you all the best. By the power of this spiritual energy, may our departed relatives also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their samsaric journey in positive way. And finally, they also attain the final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with our departed relatives reciting the Gatha. Idam me ñāti nam hotu sukita hontu. Idam me ñāti nam hotu sukita hontu. Idam me ñāti nam hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may guardian deities and angels also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain the final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with guardian deities and angels to reciting the Gatha. Ākāsaṭṭā ca bhummaṭṭhā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsaṭṭā ca bhummaṭṭhā devānāgā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsaṭṭā ca bhummaṭṭhā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu maṃ paranti. By the power of all these meritorious and spiritual deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca nirdukkhaṃ bhayam pantāca nirbhayam sokam pantāca nissokam hontu sambe pipanino. May the triple gem bless you.